Welcome to this beginner's guide to gameplay mechanics. In this video I will explain you all the things you need to know to be a little bit less confused going through this huge world of Baldurs Gate 3. So with that said, let's just begin right away. So, first off, the movement. Baldurs Gate 3 is a point and click adventure, so if you're going around, you have to click to the position where you want to go. You can also hold the mouse button down so you don't have to click the whole time and run around wherever you want. The next thing you can do is the camera movement. With the buttons W, A, S, D, you can roam around with the camera and go pretty far away and maybe inspect areas your character isn't currently in. The thing is, if you're doing this quite often, it's probably sometimes annoying that you come back to your character and always searching him again. You can just double click on your character. You can also assign a button for this key. In my case, I did it on my mouse, which is pretty handy because I do this quite often and I just click and I'm back on my character. If you scroll on the mouse wheel, you can change the perspective. You can even go pretty close till you're almost in a third person situation. And if you click on the middle scroll key, you can switch the perspective of the camera. So if you go around and maybe you want to inspect it like this, you can just do it fine. And then back character and easy. So the next thing you can do is, if you press the button O on the keyboard, you will enter a tactical view. You might ask why you should do this. Well, there are some options where this is quite useful. If we go out of it and I show you it quick, I'm the furthest away with my camera that's possible, okay? And I'm going there, okay? And I'm going to the house and I can't get higher up than this. If I go there, I'm getting into the house, okay? If I enter the tactical view on the keyboard O and I scroll out the whole area, I can see the whole rooftop. And in this case, I can even see that there are enemies, which I probably wouldn't have seen if I did it with the other camera view. So that's quite useful for some situations where you maybe want to prepare or where you know that some areas people are higher up or whatever. Just use it in such cases. To continue in the movement section, you know that you can roam around freely, okay? But maybe you were in-game and you already noticed that there is a button in the interface on the right side which says enter turn-based mode. Maybe you used it, maybe you didn't know what exactly this is for. I will explain it to you real quick. I give you an example, and this here is that I investigated this area prior and I know, okay, here are some goblins waiting. So if we go back into the normal view and I'd press shift, I see the area which they are looking at. And I guess that if I go in there, they are trying to surprise me, to attack me, okay? So what can I do? I could get into stealth mode with my whole party, which I could do with shift C. Or what I can also do is, instead of sneaking up with everyone, I could enter the turn-based mode. And now I can move firstly up with my main character and I can jump over there and then move further away. Then I can end my turn, go to the next one. Maybe I want with her to go, with Shadowheart to go there. Then next one, Asterion, he stays here, Gale stays here, and then the environment's turn is going on and I'm back, it's my turn. And the thing is why this is really useful, the moment I enter the turn-based mode, everything freezes. So I can show you, if I go to the goblins, you see, they are not moving in any instance, okay? The thing which they are saying here is the thing they're going to see the whole time I'm gonna do my turns. And then if I'm done and think, okay, maybe I go with this character up there, go behind them, maybe I sneak up with another character up here, and so on, I could prepare really good for the battle and surprise them and gain a huge advantage. And the thing is, where this is also really useful is if you imagine that another thing where the turn-based mode could be really, really good is if you imagine that here in front of me is a trap, which would go from this point, and if we go through it would like go bang and would smash us, okay? We could enter the turn-based mode, the weapon freezes, we go through without anything happening, and if we are done, we could just leave this mode again and we are safely through. You will, of course, would have to do that with all of them, but that's this whole thing about this one, okay? So the next part would be this interface on the left side. There we have all our party members, okay? We can, if I go there, they will just follow me. They will follow me around. But what if I want to play, I don't know, Gale? Just click on him. Easy. I'm now playing Gale. But what you can also do is, if you don't want them to follow you around, you can take Gale, move him out of this group, and now he will go on his own and the other characters will stay. If you want him back to the others, you can just drag him back into this group. What you can also do, if you want to separate all of them, you can just press the button G, and then everyone is separated. I can go with him here, with Shadowheart here, Asterion here, whatever. I think you know the principle of this, okay? And if I want them back, just press G again and easy. The next thing, which is quite important in this world, because this map is kind of huge, you can fast travel. For this, you just have to go on your map, move this map around and search for those symbols. You can just click on them and you will teleport to them. If you don't have the symbol on your map, just look out for these wonderful ancient sigils, because every sigil you find with this shape will be a new point of the map which you can fast travel to. Quite important. So the next thing, when you are walking around, which can be quite annoying for some people, myself included, if you're going around and you look at the minimap on the top right, you can see that I go like this and this, and the minimap is fixed and won't move at all. You can change this, and all you have to do is to go to Options, Interface, and in the interface you have North Facing Minimap. You just unclick this or click it, however you prefer it, and then if I go around and move my camera and move my character, the whole map goes on with me. And I like this pretty much because everywhere I look, I know this direction, this way is this way on the minimap, and I don't have to orientate myself. So the next thing is one of the most important, if not the most important thing in this game, which you need to understand because you will do it quite often. This is the short and the long rest. What is a short and a long rest? If you are in the bottom of your hut, you see this bonfire symbol, okay? If you click on this, you see three options. The go to camp, which I will explain in a second, then the long rest and the short rest. Our first thing we are look into is the short rest. Let's imagine our whole party here was in a fight and has only half our hit points. And I used maybe a few spells. Maybe we want to take a short rest, because if we go on short rest, we see, okay, twice a day we can short rest and restore 50% of our hit points, and warlocks restore the spell slots. So depending on what your plan is, you should do this quite often, because if you left the battle and are half the HP, but you have lots of your spells left, then maybe the short rest is the perfect option. But what is the long rest? Well, for a long rest, you have to go to your camp. And to your camp, you go through this bonfire icon. And if you click there, you come to this area. Maybe in some other parts of the game, it looks a little bit different. But the main thing is, if we want to long rest, we always go to this end the day thing here, okay? And if we end the day, we will get into the evening, okay? And then what happens there is, okay, I am here and our companions are around us. And there's one thing we always want to check, if our companions have a little text symbol over their head, because it is important that every time we want to long rest and they have a symbol over the head, that we go to talk to them, because this will progress us in our story even further, and don't miss out these options. If we did our camp duties up to this point, we can then go to bed. And this we can do on this mattress here. So we go to bed and then it will ask us for camp supplies. If you have enough, you can long rest. In this case, I'm playing this right now on balanced. I have to take 40 camp supplies. I can use auto select or just choose it on my own. It doesn't matter. And then you can do a full rest, which restores all hit points and all spell slots. You basically reset everything and have everything again. If you're playing this on Tactician, you will need 80 camp supplies, okay? But what happens if you don't have enough camp supplies? Maybe I used everything, but you need the rest to gain some things back. Well, you could do a partial rest. There you won't get everything back, but your hit points and spell slots will be restored up to half the maximum and you won't regain short rest. So it's a good option to get a little bit back, but you won't get as much benefits. So just make sure if you don't have enough, that next time you are in the city or somewhere else, anywhere you go, just loot everything because you will get enough stuff for... Normally you will get enough stuff if you just loot everything. So the next thing we are going to talk about, which is quite important too, is the inventory, because you will have to use it quite often, sort it quite often, and do many things with it. To enter the inventory, you can either press here this button or just press the key I on your keyboard, okay? If you don't only want to see your own inventory, you want to see the others, you can just press tab on your keyboard and it will bring up all of the inventories, okay? So there are a few things we have to look at in the inventory. The first thing, if it is just a little bit of a mess, you can sort your inventory by clicking here and sort it to latest, value, weight, type. Quite often you will be overweighted, so maybe you will want to sort it by weight and just bring the heaviest items back. I don't have that many now, but you know what I mean. Next off, every character has a camp supplies sack, which basically just holds all your camp supplies. You can just double click on those items and it will open up. Next to it is the alchemy pouch, which just holds all your herbs and other stuff you will need to create some elixirs or something else. Next to it you have a keychain where all your keys you pick up will be stored. Along your journey you will also find some backpacks or other storage things, which you can use to maybe clean up your inventory a little bit and put all scrolls into it. Or maybe you have one where you put all your weapons in it and so on. It's just quite handy and sometimes just nice that not everything is all over the place. Because like here, this is already a huge mess in my inventory, but I will clean it up in a bit. So what you can do to clean it up, or maybe if you don't want everything here, you can also click on an item, right click, and then you could do a variety of things. You can drop it, you can throw it, but most important probably is you can send it to your camp. So everything you pick up along your way, you can just straight up send to your camp from where you are. So I will click on this and it will travel into my traveler's chest in my camp. So you don't have to worry about it and you don't have to carry everything with you. If you have your whole inventory full of stuff, you don't have to do this manually by clicking on everything. You can, if you don't want to do this all one by one, you can just click on, let's say, this bottle, press shift and up to this cup it will select everything. Or you can also press Control on your keyboard and you can select unique items. You don't have to select everything and you can deselect and so on. And then you can just do it in one turn. The next thing in the inventory, which you maybe just ignored until now, are 3 tabs. There you have your summary of your character, which you can see just your stats, you can see your resistances to certain things and your noble features. Like, for example, if we look at soothing songs. When you inspire an ally using bardic inspiration, they also regain 1 to 6 points. And I have this because of my head. Right here. If I unequip this, this feature will go away. So there you just see all the features you have right now, which are momentarily, or also your class features, like in my case, because I play a draw, I have period dark vision, for example, or draw weapon training. Okay, so it's just a quick summary. Then on the next part we have our skills. There's just an overview of all your skills and in which you're pretty good at. In my case, I'm pretty weak at strength, but if we go down, I see I have a +7 on deception rolls, I have a +7 on performance rolls, on the intimidation 5, persuasion 5, which are just my main things. On the third part, we just get a detailed view. We will see our hit points and so on. We also see our initiative for the combats, which is +2, our movement speed and so on. But the thing which is the most interesting here, because sometimes you need a little bit of an overview in what things you are proficient in. For example, if I go on armor, I know my character is only proficient in light armor, not in medium and not in heavy armor. I'm proficient in all those simple weapons. Okay, I'm proficient in martial weapons and in musical instrument. So another bonus, if you are like a person which loves good equipment but hates ugly appearance, you can do a little bit in regards to this, because you can just toggle on and off your helmet and your equipment on this side. Wait, come on. Yes, your equipment. You see? The next thing here which is important is the weight you can carry. I give you an example. We will go to our traveler's chest, and right now I'm pretty fast. I have my normal speed. But if I go there and I pick quite a few things and pick all of it up, you see I have a new situation, which is here heavily encumbered. And this is a condition which is pretty bad, because I have a bunch of disadvantages, like my movement speed is heavily reduced, I have disadvantage on ability checks, on attack rolls, and as well on strength, dexterity and constitution saving throws. So always make sure that you are not too heavy. So I'm now in between this red area here and the white area here, which isn't that bad than the red area, because I don't have all these disadvantages, but I still am reduced in my movement speed significantly, and my jump distance is halved. So many disadvantages for just having a lot of loot with you. Just send everything back to the camp. Another thing regarding your character, I know he looks sexy, I know, is your armor class, okay? And there it is important that you understand the armor class and which things you are proficient in, because we have 3 different types of armor. We have the light armor, here is the medium armor, and the heavy armor. I can wear the light armor and I'm proficient in, which I again can see here on the proficiency bonus, okay? The armor I'm in it, I can see here in the proficiency bonus. Light armor I'm proficient in with. And my armor class is now 13, okay? You have to think about it. If we'll wear this light armor, we have 11 armor class, but if I go down there to armor class, I see that I also get +2 from my dexterity modifier. And if I go to my character, I see I have 15, which gives me +2 to dexterity checks and +2 to my armor class. So if I would take the medium armor, you can see, oh, I have an armor class of 15, which is not which isn't that bad, because I get 13 from the armor class +2 from my dexterity. But the problem is with this, with my character, I am not proficient with the medium armor, and you can see this here saying it, because I'm only proficient with the light armor. The problem is, if I'm not proficient with the correct armor, I can't use my spells anymore. You can see here they are all grayed out. So if I put back on the light armor, they are back in usage. The same is with heavy armor. So always make sure that you will wear the right armor, because if I put this on, I lose all my spells and also some of my attacks with some weapons. So just make sure. So the next thing, which can be quite confusing for some people, is this whole hotbar here. We will go over all of it. So On the first view, you see there is basically just a bunch of different things. If these are bonus actions, if these are actions and weapon attacks, spells, and so on. The first thing first. You can do a bunch of different things. First on, you are on the bottom here, which is like the basic thing which the game always will have at the beginning, okay? But you can sort everything a little bit to your advantage. You can just click on the common things and then you will have all the common things here. Then on Bard you will have all the Bard specific spells and abilities. Then on items you will have all the items. Then you will have the passive tab, which by the way is quite interesting because in this case you will also have a non-lethal attack mode. If you toggle this on and it is activated, you can see this by the way left on a character if it is activated or not. This condition will give you the ability to not kill creatures. It will just leave them unconscious. Okay? So, but back to the main tab. We can, if this is a little bit annoying like this, we can drag this red thing to the left and to the right to make more space. We can do this right here. And we can also, if we want, increase the rows on the right here. So we will have more space. We can do this to up to 4 rows and now the things won't overlap. We can have quite a nice overview of everything. The next thing, which I really like and use myself pretty much all the time, are those buttons on the top here. Because the first one, which is just the action. Because as you probably know, that in each combat you will have an action, a bonus action and a reaction. So if we want to make an action, but there are all the things just randomly orientated, you can just click on action and it will show all the things which are an action. And this is important to know, or this is sometimes important to just do it maybe like this, because sometimes you think, a potion or something else is just a bonus action, but no, it is a whole action. Or something like hiding. This is an action. Helping is an action. Dashing is an action. These are all main actions in a turn. So if you want to know what bonus actions are, you can just click on this and you see, okay, the jump is a bonus action. You can dip your sword into a substance on the ground. You can choose a spell which is displayed here, which is also a bonus action. The potion of healing here is also a bonus action. Okay, so those are all things you can do. Then the third one is the class specific tab. So in this case, this will be Bardic Inspiration, which is my main ability. If I go to, let's say, Gale, you can see his action changed. It is Arcane Recovery Charge. If I go to Shadowheart, it is Channel Divinity. Okay, so those are all changing depending on which class you are playing right now. Then next to it, we just have our spell slots, which is, in my case, I have a level 1 spell slot and a level 2 spell slot. And the squares symbolize how many spells I can use until I have to rest again. And in my case, I have 4 level 1 spell slots, so I can cast 4 level 1 spells, and then the spells will gray out, and I can't use them anymore. I can show it to you real quick. Heal myself. Excellent. Another spell slot. I'm gonna heal myself again. And I'm gonna do this 1 or 2 more times. You see, each time I use it, it will gray out more. And now you can see all of this is grayed out. So why, if I'm on there, they are still not grayed out here? Well, I can, for example, click on the healing word spell again. And I can cast it now as a level 2 spell. So if I cast it, it will be upscaled and does more than before. And now I used all my level 2 spell slots. But I, of course, have also higher spells, which are symbolized here. It is a level 2 spell slot. You can always see this on the bottom here. And you can also see, okay, this is an action. So if you use this, you will have used your action for this turn. The next thing after the spell slots are the cantrips. And the cantrips are basically spells without any cost. In my case, I have Vicious Mockery, which you can see, it is an action again. And I can use this spell to insult a creature, and do this basically every round. So this is quite important to differentiate it from the spells, because the spells are limited and the cantrips are unlimited. But the next thing, which is quite interesting, if you see this whole hotbar on the top right, there are two things lighting up, which are my reactions. And a reaction, I can click on this and I get to this window where my reactions are shown. And you can see a reaction is a response to events and triggers even outside of your turn. You can toggle them on or off, or whether they automatically trigger or ask for input. But what is a reaction basically? So let's say if I fight against an enemy and the enemy is right beside me and he decides to just run away and he doesn't decide to disengage, I get my opportunity attack once per turn. And I could generally click this here that if this reaction triggers, the game will ask me if I want to use this opportunity attack. Why wouldn't I want to use it? Well, maybe you think that in the whole turn there will be another option that this could be of better use. You can also, for whatever reason you would like to, just completely turn off this reaction. Then it will vanish right there. So you can do this however you would like. So the next thing I want to show you is right next to the reactions, the command tab. There you have an overview of all the things you can do. The spells, the weapon actions, the common actions and the passive. And if I go to Bard, I see what spells I have, what level 1 spells I have, what level 2 spells I have, the cantrips and the class actions. So, what if I go to a Gale, for example? Oh, all of this looks a little bit different. The reaction is the same, the commands are basically also the same, but here you can see this one here. You can, because Gale is a wizard and he can use prepared spells for his battle. So you can see here, if you lost, for example, a battle and you want to re-fight the enemies, you could change your spells, because those spells are the ones which are active here. And if you, for example, thought, okay, Fog Cloud wasn't it, you can put it away and instead maybe put in Melf's Acid Arrow. And then you can see on the bottom here, it appeared here, and now those are the spells you could use for the battle. And all the ones not chosen won't be able to be used. If we go back to the Bard, you see, nothing here to be prepared. Those are the spells you can use and nothing else. So this brings us to the next point, because you can see, this is everything here which we have. You can also create your custom layout, in which maybe you want all the spells on the left side. You can do this. I put it a little bit too far right, but I can't move it. Why can't I move it? The answer is quite simple, because on the right side there is a lock, and if you lock it open, you can move these things around. But don't forget to toggle it back on, because if you forget it and maybe you fight or you use a spell and accidentally do this, it is gone, and maybe you forgot it because you have the lock and you moved it out of your hotbar. So put it back on and then you can't move those things back out. Okay, so and the last thing from this hotbar is on the left side, which is just a really quick thing, because you see your weapon which you have equipped. In my case, I have right now a dagger and a crossbow, and if I am in battle and I want to make a melee attack, I maybe want to switch on my melee weapon. You can see it is equipped. If I want to use my ranged weapon, I can use this one here, and the ranged weapon is equipped. You can also do this by just pressing F and switch between both of them. What you can also do there is just toggle on a light source if you're in a dark area, and of course you have it equipped. Okay? And the next thing is one game essential thing, the dialogues. Because in dialogues you can handle situations different, like in this case you are seeing right here. It always depends what answer you want to choose. If a few different kind of options appear and you want just the option which gives it the most possibility to succeed, you can hover over the things and you can see, okay, like in intimidation you get a +5, or in persuasion you get a plus whatever. So you can always see which is the most likely chance to succeed in this dialogue. And to close this video out, I just want to give you one last quick tip, which is regarding quick saves, because this game is huge and you will be going through areas and your journey will sometimes be really long, and the game will not automatic save for quite a long time. So make it a habit that you remember the key F5, because this was the key to quick save your game. You can also, of course, if you want to have the automatic saves a little bit higher up, you can just pump this number in the menu up and you get a little bit more automatic saves. But I wouldn't recommend you that you only use this. Just quick save a bunch of times. It will make life easier, because sometimes shit can happen, and so you're on the safer side. Well, this was everything. Thank you so much for watching if you're still here, and thank you for your support. Then I see you and bye.